going on, everybody? My name is Josh Hipp. I'm the Performance Director of Kenwood Dealer Group and Lebanon Ford Performance. Welcome to the LFP Podcast. I'm today joined by Mr. Russell Merten of Dealer Services International, a former employee of the Lebanon Ford Performance team, former lifted truck manager of Lebanon Ford. Actually started the lifted truck program at Lebanon Ford. It must have been 4 years ago now.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
We're also joined by Hannah Floyd, who's behind the camera and is going to be moderating some questions and some structure to this podcast.
Hello.
Hannah has been with us for a while as well, but 3 years now?
Yeah.
3 years. Started as an intern through college. Started with
technically 4 if you count the internship.
Okay, so 4 with the internship, and then has since gone from just intern to Lebanon Ford videographer to now Kenwood Dealer Group, 14-store videographer. Been obviously working our way up there as well. We've all kind of gone from entry-level positions, and now we're in a much different phase of our careers. Okay. Like I said, this is the LFP Podcast, so we're going to be talking everything performance, not just at Lebanon Ford specifically, but what's going on in the market, what Lebanon Ford is doing, what Lebanon Ford Performance is doing, where's the market going, what's new, what's exciting. Today, we're specifically going to focus on where Lebanon Ford came from, so that you guys know a little bit more about us and the people in the room and the business overall. And then we're going to talk about Russell here and what's going on in the lifted truck world today. Lebanon Ford, one of the biggest lifted truck dealerships in the country. Can we say that? Okay, cool. We've been, and Russell has played obviously an instrumental part in that, not only being at Lebanon as a manager, now being our rep for the company in which we buy all of our lifted trucks from. So a little bit about myself coming in. I started with the dealership almost 6 years ago now, 5.5, 6 years ago. I started actually at one of the other stores that the dealer group owned and started in sales while I was in college. I've been around Lebanon Ford since I was 15. My dad's been at the dealership for about 12 years now. So I'm well familiar with the dealership. I grew up in the area. So, I serviced my first car here. So that's, I'm a big fan of Lebanon Ford. Obviously, I worked there, so I continue to grow up through the business and around the people that have worked there. So started as the accessory specialist when I was no longer in sales, and we started an accessories program, built that up, eventually teamed up with the performance department that was going at the time by a former employee, and then maybe about 4 years ago, 2016, 2017-ish, that's kind of when Russell and me and the whole team got together and we came up with this idea, right? They came up with the 727 for $39,995 idea, which if you're unfamiliar with Lebanon Ford and what we do and the programs that we do, the 727 for $39,995 was taking a base Mustang GT, a manual 300-day car, pairing it with a Roush Performance 727 horsepower supercharger, and then allowing you to pick up the combo at $39,995 plus tax and title. So it was a huge... It blew people's minds. Do you remember it?
Oh yeah.
Literally people called him like, is this real? Does this actually exist? Are you guys kidding? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the catch? And really, we just wanted to put as much power into a chassis as possible and give it to people for a great price. And still today, dealers don't understand how we do it. Now we offer 800 horsepower for the same price.
Sure.
It's just grown. It's just continued to grow. We offer not only Roush, but other power systems as well. We're now doing it on F-150. This thing is just really blown up. You remember the first day that it hit, right?
Well, I was still back in the closet.
Oh, right.
Remember they put us back in the closet when we first started.
That's right. The three of us were back in that office.
Yeah, and usually, it was like Tuesday afternoon, ghost town. And then all of a sudden the phone rang, and I remember picking up the phone and it being some guy from New York, and he kept saying, "Oh, I heard you guys do this 727 horsepower for $39,900."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Was it real?" And I said, "Oh, of course." And so we had a little conversation. I hung up the phone, and it was still ringing. And I pick up the phone, and it was someone from California, and I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And I hang up the phone, I pick it up again, and it's someone from New Jersey, and I'm like, "What is going on?" So I walk up to the tower.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Nico and Brad at the time, and I was sitting there. I said, "Hey, did we put a promotion out for Facebook or something?" Because like the phones, and we could listen, the phones kept ringing, and no one knew what was going on. And at a point in time, it just kept going. It literally never stopped.
It was nuts. And we really didn't have any, we had no plan. When that article was posted, we posted it on a Lebanon Ford blog.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like a Ford Life blog.
It was Ford Life. Yeah. It was FordLife.com. It was like a WordPress, little thing, like a little, had no subscribers, had no follower base. Lebanon Ford Performance at that time was just a Cincinnati thing. where we were the only Roush dealership in Cincinnati. That's the people we were attracting. We were going to car shows, stuff like that. The normal stuff that you do at the dealer level. And then someone must have shared this thing.
Well, what happened was we got a secret phone call, right?
That's what it was.
We got a secret phone call from a guy who was on the drive.
That's right.
And and this guy had called, and he just kept asking like generic questions. And,
yeah.
We had answered the questions, and we didn't even know. We didn't have anything up. So it got posted first on the drive.
That's right.
And then everyone started sharing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I said, we were talking about earlier. It was on Yahoo. It was on MSN. We were a top trending hashtag for a week and a half.
When Yahoo hit it, that's when it really kicked. I mean, the drive has a huge reach, but I remember when Yahoo hit, then it was like the floodgates opened.
Oh, yeah, we had thousands. I remember coming back the day after, and we sat down as a team, and we had multiple thousands of internet leads.
Yeah.
And we were like, what are we supposed to do? I mean,
yeah.
How do we handle it? And the phone still was ringing.
Literally every phone in the dealership, every salesperson, every sales manager, finance manager, service advisor, warranty clerk, every single phone. People were dialing in and using any possible directory option just to get to somebody. Just to get on the phone to ask, is this thing real? How do I get it? How can I get it right now? I think we took 20 orders that first week.
Oh, yeah.
That first week. So, I mean, it literally was just, it was gangbusters, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane. And that was kind of like the platform on which Lebanon Ford Performance really could take off.
Sure.
Because, at the time we were kind of dabbling. At the time they were projects, right? You remember the old term that we used to call them?
We always got called they were projects.
We were projects, yeah. And then it became it became a business model.
For sure.
Yeah, everything from that point on totally changed. Night and day difference. As far as our workflow, what we were doing. I remember the VIN solution system at the time wouldn't kick on until 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Phones wouldn't kick on, internet leads wouldn't kick on, nothing would kick on until 9 o'clock when the store officially opened. Mm-hmm. And we would get there early, and everybody at the tower, so Frank, Brad, Nico would lay their phones across the tower because they were all getting internet leads. And at 9 o'clock, their phones would light up, and they literally wouldn't stop pouring in leads for 20 minutes straight.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would just keep dinging the lead coming in. Even though it had come in, 12 hours before, we didn't get the notifications till 9 o'clock when our store hours kicked in. Literally, their phones would all light up, and they'd see them side by side, and you just I've never been so anxious as to watching all of those leads come and thinking about what in the world are we gonna do?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sitting back there because I was I'd just become performance advisor at the time, so so I wasn't even selling them, but I was taking phone calls anyways. I'm I literally don't know. I said, if we sell 10% of these, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I literally have no idea, and we just bootstrapped it and ran.
I
ran.
Didn't at one point you guys had to actually shut the phones down?
Oh, there was a time that we literally disconnected the phones.
Everything.
Because I was still, my internship was the summer of 15.
Right.
And I was back in college.
Right.
And I remember my grandparents telling me.
Oh, yeah.
Every single person was having to answer a phone call regarding the performance leads.
You had salespeople losing their minds. My customers can't get a hold of me because every single time I pick up the phone, it's a Mustang customer. They physically shut the phones off.
Yeah, we couldn't even pick up the phone to call anybody.
Yeah, you couldn't get a call out. The phone system literally crashed. You couldn't get a call out, couldn't get a call in because, it crashed at one point. So then they leave it shut off.
Yep.
And just everybody's just filling up their voicemails, right?
Yep.
And then the next week we had 5 people in a room as a call center.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the craziest. And I think what was craziest for me was when people just started showing up from other states.
Oh yeah, we had those guys just fly
from
in.
New York.
Yeah, just they drove in, flew in, hey, we know we were passing through on our way to so and so. Just wanted to see if you guys exist. Just wanted to walk around the lot for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Have no intention to buy anything. Just read the article, thought it was cool.
How many months did it take where people wanted to know we actually existed?
Oh, it's still that way today.
Yeah.
There's still people who are seeing the original article and saying, I know you guys were doing this back in 2017. Are you still doing it now?
Yeah.
Of course we are. Well, I just wanted to see if it was still real. Yeah, still real. Still doing it.
Yeah.
You can read about it. It's insane. So, all right, Russ, let's talk about you.
Sure.
You understand the premise of what Lebanon Ford Performance is about. We do a lot of fun stuff.
Sure.
It's easily one of the best jobs in the world if you're a car guy because we literally plays with toys all day long. Yes, there's plenty of stresses that go into that, customers and customer service and all that. But at the end of the day, we get to build cool stuff. You're still doing it as your day job now. You're not having to sell much anymore. You're really just getting to build trucks.
All day, every day.
Very much like me. We had that conversation literally. Russell and I, so when Russell was a salesperson, I would always get irritated with Russell because he would drop weird things on me that I really just didn't want to do. And it would be like 10 minutes before a customer was getting ready to walk in the door. And he'd say, by the way, I need all this. And I need a car to do it like right now. And I said, oh, okay. So, I would like chase my ass all day, and I did it for you, and I did it for multiple other salespeople as well. The person you know who I'm talking about. But then literally like the first day that Russell gets out of training with DSI and starts running the Cincinnati region for lifted trucks, he calls me and goes, we literally have the same job. And I said, yeah, welcome. Yeah. I said, yeah, it's
the tables have turned because now I just chase things for you all day.
Yes. And now I get to call and yell at you when things aren't done.
Try to act like you're upset, and I have to calm you down.
I'm literally never upset, but I always act like it. So Russell, tell us about, we've kind of talked a little bit about where you came from, stuff like that. So fill us in on the blanks here. Like, when did you start with Lebanon? What was the progression through Lebanon Ford? Why DSI? What was the change about? And then what have you been doing since?
Yeah, so I started in 2012 at Lebanon Ford. Used car guy. I think it was more of just a, hey, let's see if this guy makes it kind of thing. So, let's be serious, right? So I knew the owner. I knew Lisa.
Yeah.
And I was friends with her nephew. And he's like, hey, you should try to sell cars. And college really wasn't working for me. So I wanted a job that made more than $10 an hour. So
Fair enough.
I took a shot, right?
Right.
And it morphed. I was in used cars, and I always had, I always liked trucks, but never really had like a passion towards anything.
Sure.
So fast forward, they moved me over to the new car side. Performance had just kind of started. We had, performance Facebook, and, we were kind of rolling through, but really slow. And we kept getting contact from bailment companies that just send you trucks. And Lisa, the owner, she had come in a couple times and said, between me and other people in the performance department, hey, do you guys want to take this on? And no one really wanted to. And I did, but I'm not like a super upfront. Like, I never like try to jump into those roles. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. So I went in and I talked to Lisa, and at the time it was still Tom that was here, and they said, well, you put together a proposal and figure out the market, figure out what it's going to look like, and we'll do it.
That's like standard, like Lisa Kreider 101 right there.
Yes.
Put together a proposal.
Yes.
Figure out how we're going to do it. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, so then I made this like huge, thick binder of like all these different trucks and builds and prices and markets and where the most trucks were selling.
All like every brand in there too.
Big dealerships, and then who I wanted to go with, right?
Yeah.
So I had found this company, DSI, and I hate cookie cutter stuff, and as anyone's come to find out, I like going big, bad, beyond, try to push the envelope.
Trust me, Russell, we remember.
Yeah, right? Remember that. What was that? The Caribou truck.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Year and a half. And
Caribou with Raptor boards on it. Yeah.
I remember.
That was a winner.
Side note, I still see the headache truck everywhere I go.
Well, he lives in Lebanon.
He lives in Lebanon.
That guy does not like me very much.
Yeah,
for some reason, I rubbed him the wrong way sometime, and he just does not care for me.
No.
But he loves that truck.
He loves that truck.
Yes, he does.
It is a gorgeous truck.
He owns the ice cream shop or the candy shop or something.
He owns something in Lebanon, and he literally, I see him going up and down Columbus Avenue where the store is every single day.
Don't you remember when he came through because he was having an issue with it, and he was parked right next to that barrier out there by where the F-150 and he scraped the whole down the side of his truck.
The week after he bought it, he literally runs into a light pole in the lot and scrapes the whole
it was rough.
Side of the
he
vehicle.
Was just literally coming to get a can of spray paint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, back to what I was saying. Yeah. So I'd went in and I'd said, hey, this is what I want to do. And they said, okay, you can have two F-150s and a Super Duty. Go ahead, do what you want to do. So I did my first two F-150s. This was in March of 2015.
Okay.
So March of 2015, I had got the trucks, got them back, put them out on the lot, and we sold our first one the first week of May.
Yeah.
So about a month and a half later, we sold the first one, which was to a guy that lives in Mason. He bought the black truck with the black wheels. And we 3 days later sold the red truck with the chrome wheels. And then Lisa said, well, yeah, you can have two more. So we built two more, and then those one popped in like a week.
Yeah.
And we built two more, and those ones popped in like a week. And we still had the Super Duty, and Lisa's like, we're never doing Super Duties again.
She was so mad about that Super Duty.
And but then we sold it, and we made like a lot of money.
A lot of money.
What to say, a lot of money. And Lisa's like, well, maybe we should do another Super Duty.
Oh, of course.
And of course, it just exploded, right? So that first year, we sold 30 trucks.
That's right.
In 8 months, we sold 30 trucks.
Killed it.
And I'll never forget, we went to the Christmas meeting, and I sat down with Lisa and Tom, and we sat down, and she said, I just want you to know, if you would have sold 4 this year, I would have been pretty happy.
And we sold 30.
And we sold 30.
Killer.
And, no one had really started. We had started seeing the market start coming through. A lot of other dealerships were signing up because of what we had done. And, for myself, it became a passion. I ate, I slept, breathed.
Yeah.
I went home every night, and instead of, watching TV, I sat on forums and watched stuff. It was just my life. So that second year, we sold 40 some trucks, and then it just grew.
I think it was 48.
48.
Yeah, that number sounds right.
Yeah, and then, it just kept snowballing, right? I mean, we started doing different builds. We had a couple that failed, like the Caribou truck, like the lowered truck, the first lowered truck, right?
The lowered supercharged truck.
Yeah, that one was a mistake.
That did not work out.
Yeah, I still see that truck all the time, though. He lives up in Dayton, right? And,
yeah.
So I see that truck all the time when I drive around up there. So... it was great. I had done that. And then this is when, at this point in time, year 2 is when performance started getting really big.
Right.
So 727 had happened, and that's why we did the lowered supercharged truck, because we were trying to
open the market there.
Open the market up. Obviously failed miserably. And then it just kind of went. We just kept growing. The year after that, we did 53, and we had brought Rouse trucks on. So we had done 53, and we had like 10 or 12 Rouse trucks.
Right.
And then the year after that, we did 60 some, right? And that was my last year, right?
Yeah.
So 50 some. And then, an opportunity arose. Like I always say, I had the second best job at Lebanon Ford, but I still had to sell Focuses.
Right.
So I wasn't really too keen on that. And then
right.
I walked into, literally the best job you can possibly have. I wake up every day and I talk about trucks.
Right.
And that's literally all I do.
Yeah. That's what's so great about this kind of like logistics job, right? We get to talk about all the fun stuff. We don't necessarily have to sell it, but we have to figure out that we have to know the market enough to help the people that do. Obviously I support our sales staff at Lebanon Ford Performance, because if we're not putting together the right trucks for a lot, or we're looking at a build for a supercharged truck or supercharged Mustang, and it's the wrong stuff, if we push forward with it, it's never going to sell.
Oh, for sure.
So
and that's kind of that, especially at my job now, the hard part, truthfully, for me, was having other Ford dealerships, right? When you work for a Ford dealership and you put your life into this, it's almost like your sports team, right? You play for the Bengals. The last thing you want to do is go help the Steelers win a game, right? So it was really tough for me, because there were certain dealerships that I had a stigma about, that it was really hard for me to actually walk through the front door and say, look, let me help you.
Yeah.
To take it back step, do you kind of want to talk about DSI and what DSI is for people that don't know?
Sure. So DSI, Dealer Services International, is a division of Polaris. So our Polaris RZRs, Indian motorcycles, things like that, right? So our parent company is Polaris, and then my parent company is called Trans-American Auto Parts.
Okay.
So we're based out of Compton, California. We now have 100 plus locations on our retail side, which is called Four Wheel Parts, and then we, being Dealer Services International, we go directly to dealerships. We pick up vehicles. We go back, bring them to the shop, build them, bring them back. And then our big push is, obviously, we have a warranty. We do a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty that's fully underwritten, which anyone else a lot of times other lift companies or people that do what we do, they piggyback off of the lift. Every lift itself has a warranty, but what we have is a little bit, one, it's longer, better, but even more than that, it's actually underwritten. We have a third party that facilitates it. And
not even only that, but not only are those things being the key feature of your warranty strength, but the fact of the matter, it's not just about the lift, right?
No,
it's about the powertrain. A lot of these, let's just throw out one of the other names, like what is it? What's the one that we always compare you to, that shop in Dayton does?
Oh yeah, sure, XTP.
So whatever lift they use, like they came after us, shortly after you left, and were like, hey, we'll build it cheaper, right? And our warranty is just as good.
Yeah.
Well, if you stack up these warranties side by side that some of these other companies have, it's not the same.
No, it's not. So
it's not even close to the same.
And there's a lot of like ifs, ands, and buts about those warranties, right? So the one company that they do use has what they call a no fine print warranty, and then directly under that there's some fine print that says, we do not cover engine, transmission.
Correct.
Blah, blah, blah.
So it's not a powertrain warranty. So
no.
they sell it as if it's a full coverage powertrain warranty, which in actuality it's not. And not only that, the stuff that they decide to cover
is up to them.
Yeah. And you have to pay the bill first.
Yes.
So you're using some of these other manufacturers that, at least these mom and pop shops, are saying, well, we'll warranty it, we'll back it, but at the end of the day, you move out. Let's say you move out of state. So let's say you buy an F-150 from me, you go have this guy build it, and then you move out of state and you have to make a claim. So you take it to a dealer and say, hey, let's just use a dramatic example. Let's say the drive shaft unspins, right?
Sure.
Let's say the drive shaft tosses out, which would be a powertrain failure. And you have to pay for it all to be fixed, send the bill to said company, and then they decide if it's approved or not.
Sure.
And they'll reimburse you at that time.
And they're going to tell you what they'll pay for labor after you already pay for it. So if the guy, like for instance, West Virginia is very high for labor. We had one up in Buffalo, New York that was $250 at shop hour.
Jeez.
Right? So a normal company would say, okay, we'll pay $95, and that guy's going to be like, go kick rocks.
Yeah, see, right? I'm not working on it.
I'm not going to work on it. And we run into it all the time. We have people that move to West Virginia, New York, places that we don't have shops that will go places, and they'll call us and say, hey, where should I take this? Because I don't even, the dealership just said no.
Right.
So we'll even pay the bill up front. Hey, Mr. Customer, go tell the shop to call me, and we'll say, hey, what's the bill? We'll pay it up front before they even turn a wrench on the guy's truck.
Right.
So that way he doesn't have to worry about it. But again, and as I tell everyone, look, if you got to pay to play. Stuff like that's not free, and again, no matter what you do, we spend thousands of dollars a year on health insurance, right? I haven't been to the doctor in years, and but I still pay thousands of dollars a year on health insurance because you don't want to go to the hospital and have a $10,000 bill.
Pay to play. I mean, at the end of the day, and I have the same customers with LFP. I have the same conversation with LFP customers every day. If you're getting the space, warranty or not, if you're getting in this space and want to buy this kind of truck, yes, they're a great peace of mind. The DSI warranty is absolutely the best warranty, especially since you guys just revised it. And now you're doing the 100,000 mile coverage on all vehicles. I think that's amazing. And that's across all makes and models. That's not just Ford or Chevy. If you're not ready for something to break eventually, because at the end of the day, they're built, they're vehicles, right? Something's going to break. You're looking in the wrong space.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You shouldn't be buying a supercharged Mustang to lift a truck. Eventually something's going to break, but you should be doing business with the people who are going to back your product. So like you do business with a dealership like Lebanon Ford, who on the lifted truck side offers DSI's 100,000 mile warranty. It's included with your purchase.
Sure.
It's not upsold. It's not something that we sell you. It's not something that we void. You just get it. You buy one of our trucks from us, you get it. You buy a supercharged Mustang from us, depending, if you buy the Roush one, you get the Roush warranty. Whipple, you get the Whipple warranty. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? And you just have to, do your research. But the people who buy based on price are typically the ones that run into the issues with warranty.
Sure, absolutely.
Because something breaks and they didn't pay the extra for the better product, and they get, shafted.
Sure.
So, all right. So that's where Russell came from. That's kind of that's what DSI is. Let's just talk about lifted trucks in general. Talk to me about the growth that DSI has seen in this space over the last few years, because I know you're well educated in this. You're training other regional managers around the country.
Sure.
What does DSI anticipate this market really looks like at scale?
Gosh, and it's a really good question, right?
Yeah.
So a good example would be lowered trucks, right? We talked about earlier us having a birthday in the car business, right?
Yeah.
But they're really hot right now.
Yeah.
So
really
I follow forum after forum just because I enjoy it. And 2 or 3 years ago, you would never see a lowered truck on a forum. You would get made fun of. You'd be the one that would say, hey, they call them ruined trucks.
Yeah,
right?
ruined, right?
But every single day, I see 2, 3, 4.
Oh, they're all over the place now.
And so what we see as a company nationwide is that applicable trucks are starting to come back. We had 6-inch trucks. We big things you can't put in garage. My truck, it's huge.
Of course.
Right.
Betty
White.
Yeah.
Can't put it in the garage. Can't put it. You can barely drive it around town without getting stuck somewhere. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of that's going away. You're still going to have that.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a lot of CUV markets. We call them CUVs, like crossover vehicles.
Yeah.
Subarus or Volkswagens that we've done for the auto group. Subarus and Volkswagens. We see a ton of Toyota Highlanders, Toyota 4Runners. We see we're doing Kias in Pittsburgh. We're doing mostly, and we say cars. We call them cars because they're not trucks.
Sure.
But really, they're just like SUVs. That's kind of the big push right now.
Yeah.
A lot of companies are coming out with kits. All-wheel drive Priuses came out. We actually are seeing Prius builds.
I didn't even know that.
To go after the Subaru market, people that want a hybrid Subaru. And that's kind of that push. We believe that that's the way of the market. We know that Ford, Chevy, most of them are coming out with automated vehicles in the near future, 5-10 years from now. And we believe that the market segment's going to be that you're going to be using public transportation with a fun vehicle, whether that be a Mustang, a truck, some sort of family go-getter, right? So because of that, we're noticing that the trend is changing from big trucks with big wheels and big tires to level kits, wheels, tires to CUVs with level kits, wheels, tires. More functional vehicles that you can put your family in. That anybody can drive around town with. And that's just the.
I think that's where it's happening. I mean,
it's ever changing. I'm telling you, 6 months from now, it's going to be completely different.
I mean, the fact that we saw lower trucks come back, I was astounded. I was absolutely astounded because when we first built that stock lower truck, and I was like, Russell, I don't think this thing's gonna sell.
It was what, 2 weeks?
I was so nervous about putting this lower truck together. I was like, dude, we built those supercharged trucks, and they didn't sell. They both had birthdays when we had them. I'm like, dude, this thing's just not gonna work. And he goes, no, man, it's back. It's gonna hit. And they literally like the first person that called on about it.
And now look at it. I can honestly say we've probably got 1, 2, maybe 5 sitting on the ground.
Oh, I mean, in my demo is now a lower truck. You know what I mean? So like I think it's awesome. I think it's badass. So it's.
I remember when we were nervous about the Nightmare truck.
Oh yeah, we were nervous about the Nightmare. We bought that first Nightmare, couldn't crack a door on it. It's a lowered supercharged truck, serialized from Roush. And we were like, all right, we couldn't crack a door on it. We're a big Roush dealership, still couldn't crack a door on it.
Sold to the guy in Texas.
Ended up dealer trading it to another dealer just to get a stage 3 that we could sell, and because he had the Nightmare sold, and we're like, take it, and then literally like you flash forward another year. Nardi calls and goes, hey, you want a Nightmare? We just did a big commercial for it, and we went to the filming of the commercial actually out in Hamilton. And they had Aaron Kaufman and Jack Jr. in there, like in a abandoned paper mill, like ripping burnouts in a paper mill. Like, hey, so Steve took me out there. I honestly think Steve took me out there so he could try to sell me a Nightmare.
Yeah, of course.
So like I go out there like 2:00 in the morning, and they're shooting literally at 2:00 in the morning. Like the whole city is shut down, and the police are shutting off bridges and stuff like that, and they're literally drifting a truck through downtown Hamilton. So we go down there, and he's like, hey, come on, and they shows me the truck, and of course the truck looks sick, right? I mean, it's an $80,000 F-150. It better look good. So he takes me down there, and we shoot the commercial. We go down the first night, shoot the commercial. It's just me and him. I bring the team down the second night, and then like the next week he goes, hey, by the way, do you want a Nightmare? And I was like, yeah, give me the one that was like, just give me a gray one. And it just showed up, and I mean, we just had the car show last Sunday, and it got a lot of attention.
Of course.
We've got like 5 people working on it right now.
People want something different, right?
Yeah.
So we've had about 3-4 years where lifted trucks in general just hit the market.
Yeah.
And everyone's got one. So,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to pick the same wheels. How many people call us, as a company and say, man, I just want to be different than the guy next to you. And there's times that I'm like, sorry, buddy, everyone's done them now, right? But lower trucks are in that new segment.
It's a new space. It's a new space it's a new space on a dealer level. Like guys have always been lowering trucks, even when the market kind of like disappeared. Sure. You had the one-off guys that did it themselves, and it was like cool to look at. But now, like in the dealership level, you don't see a lot of dealerships lowering trucks. And the fact that you can find one with a full warranty on it, like, yeah, awesome. Like the one that we have now, Magma Red, custom ram air hood, 24s, 295s. MBRP exhaust, crew cab lowered. It's sick, man. It's absolutely sick. Yeah. So I mean, there's so much. That's the cool thing about this program is that there's so much that we can do. I mean, we can take anything off the lot and turn it into something else, and it gives owners the ability to stop into a store, whether it's Lebanon or any other store in the country, because DSI is a dealer-based program.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If there's not dealers, there's no DSI. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's Polaris, but there's no real, these 4-wheel parts, but there's no DSI.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, so you can walk into a dealer and say, look, I want to do something different. I don't want to stock F-150. I don't want to stock Mustang. And the fact that most, I shouldn't say most, but a good number of dealerships now are able to accommodate, I think that shows wonders for what the market is going to.
I agree.
It's all aftermarkets. It's all aftermarkets. At the end of the day, the days of old where the automotive industry made money selling cars
is going away.
Is going away. And people think and there's still people that come in with the old stereotypes like, hey, you've got what, like $4,000 or $5,000 in markup in your unit price
in this base model Fiesta.
And in this $11,000 Fiesta, you must have like $3,000 or $4,000 a room, right? And the fact of the matter is, no. I mean, most dealerships these days sell at net.
Sure.
Or sell at least invoice or below.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't make money. You can't make real strong profits selling cars today.
And a lot of the stuff that we do nationwide, a lot of it is to bring customers to the dealership, right?
Exactly.
DSI is the only national company that lets you pick and choose what you want to put on it. Everyone else. So a little bit of a background. Most of the major bailment companies that you see, the Rocky Ridge, the Southern Comforts, most of them buy their parts from us. I mean, we're the largest aftermarket distributor in the country.
Wow.
We keep somewhere between $125 and $150 million in parts out of 9 warehouses in the country. So, most of the big companies out there, they're buying from us, and then they're marking them up and putting them out on the lot.
Or private labeling or something like that.
Yeah, and there's a game for that, right? Obviously, those people have chassis, so you can take a smaller dealership and go give them 4 chassis, which is going to help them get stock chassis when they sell them.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that would rather build their own truck.
Yeah.
So there is not another company in the country that is a national company that will let you do what we do. So we are literally the only company in our segment that offers a warranty, that offers what we can do. There are smaller mom and pop shops that do a great job, and I'm not going to take away from that. But there's no one that does what we do. There's no one to the size of us, to the scale of us, to what we can handle for a dealership to make sure that, one, you're taken care of both on the legal side and also the customer's taken care of when they have issues with their vehicle.
Good point. Great point. And I think that's exactly why DSI is different. That's why the dealer program works best, because not everybody wants to buy a $100,000 Tuscany truck.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I mean, Northgate here in Cincinnati obviously is one of a Kenwood Dealer Group store. It's actually, we're in their old used car super center that they used to have. They used to be a Tuscany dealership. They bought the Shelby F-150s. They bought the big Tonka trucks. And
sure.
I mean, how well did that work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so to give you like real numbers, right? Most of those dealers, most of those guys sell between, let's say the biggest ones, right? The 2 biggest ones are Rocky Ridge, Southern Comfort, and Tuscany. Those are the 3 biggest ones. Southern Comfort might sell somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 vehicles a year to dealerships. Rocky Ridge probably 1 to 2. Well, we do about 1,000 a month nationwide.
That's insane.
I mean, to see the difference, right? But it's a different game. I'm not taking away from the size of the deal, and they're very good, but it's a different game.
Yeah.
We take chassis, we do $3,000 packages, they do $10,000 packages.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and I just don't understand, like, the money to me just doesn't work out, right? I mean, and you look at some of these serialized trucks, let's call them serialized trucks. They just don't, the money doesn't work out. Look at the Shelby F-150. Which obviously we've built replica Shelby F-150s at our shop. Custom hoods, superchargers, bumpers, whatever. You look at it, the supercharged Shelby F-150 is like $90-some thousand.
Oh yeah, no, the real ones they're like 125.
125. So if you buy a Tuscany Shelby Super Snake F-150, 750 horsepower, you're over $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
How does the math work? I mean, walk me through it. I mean, it's based on a Lariat chassis. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we've got a $65,000 F-150 sticker. That's before discount. Stickers.
Call it 10 grand in a supercharger.
Yeah, so 10 grand supercharger, bumpers, wheels, tires, fender flares, leveling kit,
maybe
exhaust.
10 to 12 grand.
And a custom hood and some paint.
Let's just give it 15 because there's going to be some custom cutting, some body shop work, some custom paint. So say 15 grand.
Okay, so we're 25, 30 G's in, built.
Yep.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Plus a $65,000 sticker chassis. So we're $95,000 before discounts. All right, so a Lariat F-150 about $5,000 in discounts. Okay, so we're 90 G's.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we arrive at 120?
So again, one of those things that you have to take into consideration is when you put Shelby on it, Shelby gets a little bit of money.
Of course, got to pay for the badge.
When you put Shelby under the hood, he gets a little bit more money.
Yeah.
When you start doing all of these extra stuff, Tuscany wants a little bit of money. Or the Harley Davidson truck they've got for $99,000. That's level kit wheels, tires, and some badges.
It just doesn't make sense.
And again, but you're paying. So Harley, Shelby, they're paying. I bet you they're paying $5,000 to $10,000 a piece.
That could be it.
To do one of those, right?
So, could be.
And of course, dealerships can have markup. Dealerships should always have markup.
Of course.
My plug will always be: you should never want anything for free.
Right.
There's a fair number and everything, and a dealership's there to make money. Both parties need to be fair, but to ask for them to give something away to me is unfair. I've always felt that way.
Completely agree.
So, and again, there's markup there, but again, that there's a segment. So I'm gonna make a plug for the bailment side. Is those guys are buying a specific. Let's use Roush, correct? Because we can agree on Roush, right?
Yeah,
You're
of course.
buying Roush.
Yeah,
You're buying Shelby.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to buy that. Now you're going to see a difference because you have DSI trucks that are Lebanon Ford performance trucks as opposed, but most of the time people will seek out a Roush truck. People will seek out a Rocky Ridge truck.
Yeah, they want to buy into that brand.
Correct. They're buying a lifestyle.
They're buying a lifestyle. They're buying in a club. They're buying an exclusive club of owners. When you buy a Roush truck or Rocky Ridge or Southern Comfort, you're not buying something that you expect to see driving down the road tomorrow.
Correct.
You know what I mean? When I drive to work or drive up and down 75, going back and forth to wherever I'm going, I see a Roush truck once a week.
Sure.
Maybe at that. And I mean, we've sold a bunch to Cincinnati, and I still don't see them.
Sure.
I mean, that just shows you how rare these vehicles are. I mean, Roush is producing. We were just at Roush, Wednesday, Hannah?
Yeah,
Wednesday.
last Wednesday.
Yeah, we went up there last Wednesday. Got a tour with Trevor Wright, their new marketing manager, and he was telling us that they produce 16 to 20 vehicles a day.
Sure.
So I mean that's their scale. I mean 16 to 20 vehicles servicing a day, going on the road at somebody's dealership. Maybe if they're selling that frequent, they sell about. And Roush sells about 180, 200 vehicles a month. So
I would agree with that.
So you've got 180, 200 vehicles a month between Mustang, Super Duty, and F-150, going to 300 million Americans.
Yep.
So the fact that you are buying, so that's what you're paying for. You're buying to be a small number within a very, very big pond.
Yes.
So and that's the one reason. So if you look at it, so when you go to the dealership and you look at some of the pricing, whether it be a bailment vehicle or it be a custom built, at the end of the day, you've got to weigh that. You've got to understand that going in. People come in and be like, "Oh man, you're way too expensive."
Always.
Okay, let's say I'm at a lift kit. Okay,
You could give it to them for free, and people are going to think.
yeah, I mean, I've never been told, "Hey man, your prices are awesome." I've never been told that.
Except for maybe the 727.
Except for the 727, with the exception of that, which if people really understood how those things are priced, we don't make any money.
No, of course not.
When we sell 727 for 80 grand, we lose money to build that car. We are just building it for branding. 100%.
Yeah. But again, how many, and obviously I will be honest, with me, I drive around to tons of Ford dealerships that always, every time, fun story, I've been to places I've been with this company. I've been to Pittsburgh, Raleigh, North Carolina, Orlando, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, and Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And I have met someone in every place that I have been. Colorado, Denver,
I remember
Colorado.
You called me from Denver.
And I have found someone in every single dealership that will say something along the lines of, "Yeah, I know Lebanon Ford. You guys do that Mustang thing. How do they do it?" And I'm always tell them, because it doesn't matter. Even if you tell them the secret, they don't know how to implement it.
Correct,
right? So
right. It's all about implementing.
And I tell them all the time, like, "Well, yeah, you're going to lose money." And I always say, yes.
Yeah.
I said, but I said, how many other vehicles? I said, people buy lower kits, people buy exhaust, people buy wheels and tires, people want to do vinyl upgrades,
Right.
people want to do all this stuff. I said, they make money. I said, it's a very profitable business. No one goes into business for free.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the other thing, if you only buy a supercharger and if you buy a promo car, we're not making any money. But
Sure.
if you buy, it's when you buy the exhausts and you buy the lowering kits, just like you said, and we customize your vehicle, that's when we make a little bit of money. I mean, we're still obviously compare our prices to any other performance shop in the country. Our prices are definitely going to be better. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's because we want to accommodate you. It's not because we're trying to knock your head off. I mean, you look at the other dealerships that are doing the same program, they're $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 higher than us.
And
Sure.
I mean, even how many customers are actually truly buying it at that promo price?
Very few. I mean, let's take the last 100, maybe 5. Maybe 5.
Exactly.
So I mean, and we've done 600 or 700 at this point. I mean, and we've sold maybe, I would say maybe 50.
But isn't that car business 101, right? You have a price, you have
Correct.
loss leaders, right?
Right.
In the
We
car
call 'em
business,
loss
we call them
leaders.
loss leaders.
Yeah.
You'll take one unit, we call them the bastard units, right?
Yeah.
The ones that you don't know how it got on the lot because it's got tan interior.
Speaking
and
of
But
bastard
it's gotta go.
It's gotta
it's
go.
gotta go.
Speaking of bastard units, do you remember the gold SE Escape that had $1,000 spiff on it at one point
Yes.
because we didn't know how we had acquired it? It was the one year that Ford
We had
Motor
two of them. We had two of them.
Well, one of them sold quick.
Quick, yeah, and I think that's why we
Josh,
got
if
the
you
other
want to
one.
back up on
Am
your
I a
mic,
little-
you're
am I
a
a
little
little-
hot. You're a little hot. on the mic.
So we had
Peeking.
It's peaking. So
Wait, okay, like right here. You just don't have your lips on it, basically.
Okay, am I good?
Yeah,
Right
you're
there?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember we had that second one, and it literally. So this was the only year that Ford Motor Company used gold.
Yes.
They
What
had
was it?
they had a phase. It was like
Carrot.
champagne.
No, carrot.
On the Escape, it was gold carrot.
Carrot.
But then
yeah.
it was like white champagne or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
So
yes.
the gold carrot Escape lasted for maybe half a model year.
What
Yeah.
year was this?
2016, I
16,
think.
17,
yeah, it's like 16, 17. It was like right before the new body style came out.
Yep.
So it was like 16 last year, that body style Escape, and they put out gold carrot and thought it was going to be like some
Hot.
thing, dude. And we had two of them, and one sold right away, and then one sat for forever. And Lisa walks in on a Monday morning meeting and goes, "Look, I got $1,000 cash for whoever can
Whoever
sell
sells
this mystery unit outside." She says, "Mystery unit." course, everybody in the room was like, "It's this Escape. It's this Escape." And then Brian Hoyne walks outside that day, gets a customer on an Escape, and sold it. Sold it that afternoon.
Do you remember? Speaking of units, remember the white Explorer with the 22s and the slicks on it?
Yeah, so we, in our early stages of Lebanon Ford performance,
wait, make sure you put this on who it really was that wanted this vehicle.
Was it me or was it Lisa? It was Lisa. Yeah,
Lisa.
so yeah.
Remember though, she came to us. She's like, guys, I want to do an Explorer.
Yeah.
I saw one on the road. She saw that picture from someone in Texas.
She saw that picture. She went to a 2020 group. She went to a 20 group.
Yes, that's what it was.
She went to a 20 group, which is, if you're unfamiliar with 20 groups, GMs meet regularly throughout the year, all various parts of the country, and do like best practices, best ideas. So that Ford dealers can share knowledge without interfering in each other's markets.
Agreed.
So she went to a 20 group in like Dallas and met with somebody from Dallas, one of the GMs,
which happens to be one of our DSI dealerships.
Correct. It was one of your dealerships. So, and he goes, Lisa, I am selling these new body style Explorers
like water, making them look
like water, making them look like Land Rovers.
Yes.
Making them look like Rover Sports.
Yes.
So he's like, all I'm doing is blacking out the top, everything above the belt molding is blacked out, and I'm putting black wheels on them, and I'm selling them. Putting 22s on them. 20s, 22s, doesn't matter. I'm selling them. So she comes back. She shows me the photo. I'm like, wow, this thing looks great. I'm like, is that a Land Rover? She goes, no, it's an Explorer. I was like, even better.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's do it. So we priced it out, and we built it. And this thing just sat. I mean,
if you remember right, she was gonna buy it at Christmas time. She was coming in the year, and she usually gets out another vehicle. So she's like, I'm just gonna buy it.
She's like, I'm gonna buy it for myself.
We sold it that day.
I remember being in that meeting, and Lisa was like, this is my fault, guys. Like, she took full
she took full blame. She took full blame.
Which, not because she's going to be watching this, but that's what makes her the best boss, is she can take.
Oh, yeah. She took it. She's like, you know what? We tried it. Didn't work out. Let's never do it again. We sold it on an A-plan deal, and it went. And we sold it pretty well.
The headphones are off.
New things. We've experimented. If you remember the EcoSport Storm that we did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, okay, to be honest, in Europe, that thing looks awesome.
Europe, South America, this thing
they've
looks
got
hot.
like a tire. What is it? The back tire actually on the bed,
which you can only get in the United States.
They have
you
a
can
Raptor
only
version.
get it. You can only get it on a.
What?
Outside like Brazil and Spain.
That's the Storm. That's the Storm.
The Storm, yeah.
The Storm.
Yeah.
But they have like the Raptor grill in them.
Oh yeah, it's a Raptor grill that says Storm.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
it's really cool. So, but literally, like they have the off-road look where you can put the full fifth tire on. You can only do that in the United States by getting the most basic model possible. Why would I take the stripped down version and then want to put a fifth wheel on it? I don't understand.
You know, and one of the things too is I think that Lebanon Ford was in front of the market. That's one of the big things that's really important.
I think we're light years in front of the market.
Light years in front of the market. Again, not the plug to build something, but if you wanted to try it, this would be the time. Minus the horrible graphics and extra money you spent in the
Are you talking about
frosting.
You talking about the ridiculous splash graphics that we did?
Yeah,
I thought they worked.
I thought they did too, but again, I think my theory always has been, since I started doing lifted trucks, is less is more.
Sure.
Customers, as I've learned, customers can always add. They can always picture addition, but they can never subtract.
They can't subtract.
They can't sit there and look at a truck that's got fender flares and they can say, man, that would look really good, but I don't want fender flares. They just move on.
Right.
Well, and I think the biggest thing too, and I might cut this out, is for the EcoSport, Ford, like OEM Ford was pushing that to be a younger demographic car.
They certainly were. Certainly were.
Looking at the actual people that are buying it are in their 50s that are actually
they're either like 16-year-olds, like Genevieve's daughter just got an EcoSport for her 16th,
sure,
or they're older.
Yeah,
like it's either first car or like I just need a small car for me.
It's either their first car or their last car.
Or potentially their last car.
Yeah,
legitimately, because that's what I mean. Yeah, as you get older, you don't want a big giant car.
But again, Ford was replacing the Fiesta with that. So if you think about the demographic of the Fiesta, I mean, it replaced it.
It certainly did.
I think that market is bigger because of the price point of the vehicle.
Okay.
And I think they thought it was going to be a huge success because it's a huge success in Europe. Also the demographic of people buying cars in the U.S. is completely different.
Well, I mean, look at the Ranger sales. I mean, honestly, Ranger, I believe, could get there, but look at Ranger now. I mean, Rangers never stopped abroad. I mean, I went on a couple cruises when I was younger, and I remember seeing Rangers on the islands in the Caribbean. They're in Australia. They have the Ranger Raptor in Australia. They have it in Europe. They have it in Asia.
Yep.
But you bring it back to the United States, It's flopping.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's because, and again, my professional opinion is we live in a gotta be the biggest, gotta be the baddest, right? Look at our diesel sales and big trucks compared. We sell more diesel trucks in America than the whole rest of the world combined.
Right.
And do we need them? Some, yes, but no.
Well, I mean,
right?
How many guys do we sell diesels to that don't ever need a diesel?
Oh, me.
I mean,
I drive a big diesel.
I mean,
the only thing I haul is myself,
room,
right?
Exactly. The only thing we're pulling around is like ourselves and our
car
family.
Seat and 3
you know what
kids,
I mean? Exactly.
Right?
So I mean, we've got guys who buy these lifted F-250s, which is they're killer trucks. But
sure.
if you ask them like, hey, what are you using this for? They're like, nothing. I just want an awesome truck.
Yeah.
And that's again a service that we offer. If you just want an awesome truck, we offer that.
Yep. Russell, what was your thoughts on when Ford? I think they posted a video of the all electric F-150.
Pulling the train.
Did you see that? Like 1 million pounds, and it was full of F-150s.
There was a little bit of a trick,
of course,
but yeah.
Same thing when Toyota pulled the International Space Station, because people don't know that the International Space Station has motors on the wheels and it moves by itself.
Right. I mean, it was on wheels. I mean,
but I mean, who am I? Not that I'm biased, because but again, the market's changing, right? A lot of times, do I think that the all-electric motor and that is going to be a huge hit if they can keep the price down? I do believe that there's two things that need to happen with the electric world. One, price point needs to be in the same price range where, we see the diesel F-150 that was the biggest flop that's ever happened.
Yes.
Here, middle of the states, it was huge. Like our Texas reps, our Oklahoma reps sell them all the time.
Really?
But those guys sit on sites and they need to idle. But for the all-electric ones, there's two things that need to happen. One, we need to have either one, longer battery life, or two, we need to have fuel stations that have electric that can be within a 10 to 15 minute,
quick charge.
Kind
of like Tesla.
Or you need to have a battery that can go 500-600 miles like a normal tank of gas.
Yeah, I mean, you see Ford and Amazon investing huge. So they bought in together.
Yes.
So Ford and Amazon
with GM.
Ford and Amazon bought in to this electric truck, Rivian. That was the company that was building. They bought the whole company. Is what I understand. Bought the whole company, and that's how they're engineering electric trucks off of this chassis that they designed, and then just putting F-150 and Silverado skins on it. So I mean, that's what it's going to be. So I think that there's the future of that market is huge.
And it has to be, right, because Tesla has set a bar for everyone in the auto segment of what the potential is, and we're watching people spend $125,000 because it saves them money, right? And that's their big pitch because of gas.
I'm seeing Teslas
everywhere
now.
Oh, tons.
You're seeing the used market, right? So you're seeing this used market come through, the 2, 3. So some stuff. I've had an opportunity to look at some auctions lately, and I've been looking at car auctions, and I see a lot of Teslas, which is really interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I would, before when I was working at Lebanon, and I would go back and talk with Bill and talk with Kyle.
Yeah.
We always joked around. You'd never see one, but I was watching a demo for an auction site the other day, and the person literally just said, "Here, check this out." And he hit Tesla, and there was like 400 of them.
Oh my gosh!
Right, and they were priced normal price, anywhere from $35,000 to $60,000. So it wasn't anything outrageous.
Yeah.
And the thing about electric motors which is why they were showing that, is it's not the same. The torque value in an electric motor is absolutely insane. If you ever ridden in a Tesla and you sit back, I had sold a car to a parts manager at the Land Rover store and the Tesla store. And they had brought one down, and we got to drive in it. And I'm telling you, I sat and it was insane, just insane. I whiplash.
Yeah.
And the thing that's interesting is, with all electric is when the motor stops, the car stops. It's not like a car.
Right.
You push the pedal and you go, wherever the pedal is, that's how fast you're going. But there's so much torque. I believe that if the chassis could hold it, that could really pull 100,000 pounds.
Sure.
You have Walmart that's investing in all electric semis.
Yeah.
Because of the same reason.
Right.
Because they'll pull anything because it's just power to gear. Right. Yeah. It's not combustion. It's not building pressure. It's just power to gear.
Right.
So I believe it is a future. I still believe automated cars will be more important for the electric than a consumer vehicle.
Right.
Because
when we went to SEMA last year, we got in a couple autonomous cars.
Yeah.
Lyft, like they're trialing it in like major cities.
Yep.
So like Vegas during SEMA time was great because there was an extra 100,000 people in Vegas. literally we took like 2 or 3 fully automated. Like they had a driver in the seat, like they were still testing it, but literally the guy's driving down the strip, hands off the wheel.
Yep.
And the car was driving itself, and you could see like they explained it to you as you were driving, just so that you were kind of like you could get feedback. And they literally had a screen of what the car was seeing.
Yeah.
So what the computer's mind was seeing, and it literally gives like digital renderings of everything around it. It renders the buildings for a certain number of feet, cars, street lights, street signs, people on the sidewalk. It literally renders the whole thing and anticipates traffic. It anticipates people walking in the street, and the computer was anticipating everything and braking and accelerating on its own.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Well, I think that the technology's there.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 things that aren't there. Roads in general, right? Because they read the white lines and they read the strips, right? To be able to go straight. So it's the same idea as a vehicle that you have with lane keep assist, or, you know, mom. You
got to be able to see the line.
You know, my mom drives a Toyota that has what's called curve control. So you literally, it turns like on a highway, like a big swooping turn, it turns for you. You could take your hand off the steering wheel and it literally turns the curve, it turns for you. And so
what about like construction?
That's what I'm saying. Construction sites, right? It has to be able to see. It has to be able to see the road.
And if it can't see it, then it doesn't know what to do. It'll. So like there were times like there was you know, when we drove through some of the areas that like were like side streets, the driver took over.
Yeah, and that's where you're at. And then at the same time too, there's a whole other caveat is law, right? If there's an autonomous vehicle, who's in charge if someone does happen to run in front of the autonomous vehicle, right? Or now the nice thing about all electric vehicles is they literally stop on a dime.
They do.
Because you're not applying brakes, you're turning the motor off.
It's no different than a jet ski or anything like that. So if you don't put any power into it, it's not going anywhere.
But you know what happens? I think there's a law behind that'll take a couple years to really put into effect, because again, who's liable?
Who's at fault if the car hits you?
You know, again, so think about planes.
That's a good thing.
Well, was it a year or 2 ago where there was like it was
a Tesla?
Yeah, it was a Tesla, and it was like an Uber Eats or something, or it was an Uber.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at the footage, the person couldn't have been able to stop anyway, but she was still on her phone
texting.
But even though it was
she was in autonomous mode while texting, and
And Tesla has that thing that you still have to be in control of the vehicle even though you're in autonomous mode.
Correct.
You know, but think about planes. You know, whoever builds the plane is liable for a crash.
Right.
So if Boeing builds a plane and gives it to Delta, and as long as it's not passenger, you know, like the guy took the plane down, Boeing's in charge of it.
Yeah.
Which is why they're having their issues that they're having now, right? With the stuff they're going through. So that's one of those things. Who's in charge? Is Tesla, whoever does this autonomous vehicle, going to be in charge if someone runs in front, or a kid throws a ball in front of the street and gets hit by the car? I mean, there's so many what ifs that you know, with our world today, you know, we don't live in what ifs, but in the world today, you have to have them when it comes to law.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I agree with you. So another thing about DSI, just kind of as we're wrapping up, like, so not only does DSI service dealerships, and you can get it through, you know, a local DSI dealership like Lebanon Ford, but 4-wheel parts.
Yeah, so obviously our retail front is 4-wheel parts. So we have different divisions. We have a wholesale division, which does, you know, speed shops, places like that. And then we have a retail front, which is 4-wheel parts. You know, and locally we have a couple places, and we're growing. That's the nice thing, too, is we were bought by Polaris a year and a half ago. And Polaris has a very strong push to be the biggest, baddest off-road anything in the world. They bought Bennington Boats, which now they have a boat segment, and they have an off-road segment. And they actually just listed just a couple weeks ago our actual structure and what their goal is. They have 5 branches that they want to, you know, accommodate to that. If the lifted truck market and or off-road market's soft, it doesn't matter, because the snowmobile business is big, right? Or the, you know, Indian motorcycles is big, or the slingshot is big, right? So there's all these different brands, and they're trying to diversify, but they're pushing. They have a goal of growth, you know, astronomical growth, doubling the size in five or so years, right?
Wow.
So right now we have stores in Columbus, Ohio, and we have stores all over the country, but locally, you know, Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cleveland. A lot of people have heard of 4-wheel drive off-road, which is up in Columbiana, Ohio. So, you know, the big thing too is you know, we can help anybody, even people that already have a truck that might be listening to the podcast. You know, feel free to stop by 4-wheel parts to see what they can do. You know, they can definitely help out. Those guys are as knowledgeable as myself or Josh. You know, they eat, sleep, live, and breathe it just like I do.
So, I mean, that's great. I mean, so even if you can't find a DSI dealership in your region, just look up 4-wheel parts. I mean,
don't hesitate to ask for a DSI truck. You know, that's one of the big things too, is a big push for us is going to be, marketing to the consumer that, we have a need. There's a need out there that people don't know, and dealerships need to know that consumers are asking for it.
Yeah, so I mean, if a customer walks into a dealership that maybe isn't a DSI dealership, I mean, but they're familiar with what DSI does, I mean, can they go to any dealership and just say, look, I'm looking to build a warranty back F-150 from
Absolutely.
DSI. How can we get this set up? I mean,
it's really simple, right? So a dealership calls us, and we essentially have a one-page form that they can fill out, and then a resale form being something that just shows that you're going to turn around and sell it. You get them from the state. It's really simple. Every parts department in the world's got one. So you get that in a little one-pager, and then you can sign up as a dealership and build a truck. It's really simple, easy. And again, back to what you were talking about before on the dealer side, is, there's not a lot of money in trucks, right? In general.
Not
anymore. And so this does give you another avenue of revenue.
Yeah.
So
even if you're not a consumer, if you're at a dealer level and you're just looking to enhance maybe something for your dealership, I mean,
sure.
I mean, don't move into Cincinnati because you'll get crushed by Lebanon Ford. But I mean, if you want to do it somewhere else that's not Cincinnati, feel free to give it a shot. I think we've kind of curbed the market here in Cincinnati and Dayton so far.
And I still take pride. In what Lebanon Ford does because I built it from the ground and I've watched it flourish. But we've watched a lot of dealerships come in and go.
Yes.
Try to mimic.
I think almost every dealership in town has tried it and used not only DSI but other companies to try to beat us. And so far we've been more successful.
Except for the ones we take over and they listen.
Yes, except for the dealerships. Obviously, if you're familiar with Lebanon Ford or unfamiliar with Lebanon Ford, we were purchased by Kenwood Dealer Group last August. So now we're with two other dealerships in here in Cincinnati that are Ford, Northgate Ford, and Interstate Ford, and those stores are also adapting the Lebanon Ford mantra of let's do awesome and lifted trucks. So, and we're gaining some traction, especially here at Northgate Ford. We're really starting to gain some traction. So, well, Russell, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you. It's always obviously Russell and I talk every day. We're getting ready to go do more lifted truck stuff as soon as we're done here. So we continue to get together. It's always fun. Tell your wife I said hi. I know she doesn't like to talk to me most of the time because I keep you away from what you're supposed to be doing with her and working for us. But to let her know I said hi. Russell also has 3 kids, so obviously say hi to kids. And
congratulations to you on the new one.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, she's not sleeping, so it's great. Yeah. Still not sleeping. So
to end this podcast, what one video is your favorite video that Russell did?
Oh, the winch video.
The winch video.
But only when we did it with an E and not an I.
Instant. Oh, my God. Instant.
Instant
favorite.
Best day of my life.
I just remember
the post.
Okay, so
the comment.
To give some context. So every time that you had talked to me about this winch truck, you pronounced it wench truck.
Yeah.
So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, winch, W-E-N-C-H.
Right.
And then so I go to post it on Facebook, and the video will be it's somewhere in this like bottom corner. And Russell comes running into...
Guys, I think we spelled winch wrong. Guys, what do you mean? How do you think we spelled winch wrong? Well, look, the first comment, it was that like generic...
It was a gif of like a...
No, it was the generic Halloween costume of a pirate, of a woman pirate.
Of a pirate, yeah, exactly.
And Russell's like, guys, we gotta take it down. We gotta take it down.
At that time we did it. It was so big. Like at that time, so many people had shared it. It couldn't go away. It was so funny. Make sure you go on and watch some of our old content with Russell. I mean, that video
the Russell
specifically.
blooper video was pretty good.
Oh, my favorite besides the winch video. I mean, that was an instant number 1. A strong number 2.
That was my internship.
Yeah,
right.
I remember.
Yeah. A strong number 2 is when Russell comes in my office one morning and goes, "Josh, I'm gonna need your beanie." And I'm gonna need your beanie and your glasses. And at that time, I had these very large Ray-Bans that took up probably most of my face.
That you lost in the ocean.
That I lost it. Literally lost in the ocean. Yeah, and I still haven't found a pair that is like it. But anyways, I said, "Look, dude, I'm getting ready to do a video," and I'm like always encouraging Russell to do content. And so I'm like, here.
I boosted myself up, right?
Well, because and the funniest thing is that it was a giant circle of you talking about DSI warranty.
To myself.
But no, like full circle, you were talking about warranty for DSI.
Yeah, so literally the whole context of the video was information on lifted trucks and how you can buy a lifted truck from Lebanon Ford. So he comes to my office, he goes like, "Dude, I need a beanie, I need your glasses, and I'll be back in a little while." And
I think I got a scarf too.
I think you did. I don't know if you used it in the video, but you definitely got so he came to my office like, "Josh, I'm gonna need all your hipster stuff." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Including your vape pen.
Yeah, so literally, which I don't vape, by the way. I literally do not vape. I don't. And I don't drive a Subaru. I don't drive a Focus ST. Okay,
anymore.
I drive anymore. Okay. Anyway, so I hand him my stuff, and I'm like, obviously I can't see, so I'm like waiting for him to come back to my office, and then Hannah edits video, and it's literally Russell going back and forth across his own
It was
desk.
a pretty good conversation.
It was having a conversation with himself as Russell, and then himself as me.
Yeah.
Learning about lifted trucks. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, dude. I still watch it.
Honestly, my favorite video besides the blooper reel was you promoting the truck show. And we had that long mic.
Oh my gosh.
And you were trying to be like Bob Barker.
Bob Barker. Gosh, the times. You know, that I am not good in front of a camera. Like like even though this camera's sitting right there, like it's still like I'm sweating. You know, like
Are you sure it's not from the lights?
It could be.
The lights are very bright.
You know, but I can't even explain it, right? I can talk to anybody,
right?
right? You know, but for whatever reason, it's like I could be talking, you put a camera up, and I just freeze. So that's why the winch video was so good. That was like the first content video that made sense, right?
Right.
Well, and you didn't have to talk.
I didn't have to talk.
The bowling video is good too.
The bowling
video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember we bowled Jeremy underneath the lifted
Bowled
truck.
Jeremy under a lifted truck on like a little skateboard thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't film that, but I remember you showing me, and I'm like, "What is
Did you
this?"
do? And then
So
Phil wouldn't let us post it.
He didn't
Yeah,
like
I
it.
think we ended up posting
Anyway,
It definitely got posted.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember watching it. It definitely got
what would
posted.
be nice if we could find all these videos and just
I'll make
do
a compilation.
I love
for you,
the
Russell.
blooper reel because he
Compilation.
was like at one point in the blooper he goes, I'm just a damn movie star.
Well, and this was also baby face Russell too.
Oh,
this was
is-
no
this
facial
is
hair.
No facial hair, super
No, he was
clean
like-
cut.
He was like, "What do you want from me? I sell cars. I'm not a movie star."
Movie star. That's what it was. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh,
So funny.
I will never forget that. I will never. That's probably, like I said, I was really fine, sitting behind and typing out a post, but as soon as you put a camera in front of me, I just
I tell you
What's
what,
up, guys?
of people of like ranking people who do content at Lebanon Ford who have
Russell at Lebanon Ford.
Wait, just do hi.
Hi.
No, nope.
That's literally it.
That's it.
I mean, but still, like ranking people that do content at Lebanon Ford. Russell, you're still above, and I'll give him a shout out. Is Frank Gudlak.
Yeah.
Frank, I love Frank to death, but watching Frank do content, he gets so
That P51.
nervous about doing
That
content.
P51 video.
The P51 was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
That was right when he took over as performance manager and was like wanting to get more involved. And I was like, cool, yeah, do it, man. It's all you. Do it.
And it's
Do it.
literally you, me, and Chandler behind
Oh
the
my
camera,
God.
and Frank's like, "I can't do this."
I can't do this. All right, so Russell, thanks again. If you want to follow us on any of our forms of social media, you can check us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Is it all LFP? It's all LFP _ Mustangs, right? Or do we have various forms?
Facebook, I think, is now just Lebanon Ford Performance.
Yep. So join us on Facebook at Lebanon Ford Performance.
And then Instagram is LFP Mustangs, and then YouTube is just Lebanon Ford.
Perfect. You
So
can
we're
see it.
different on every single platform.
We are not on Twitter at the moment. I'm not a big
Technically, we are, but we don't post
I'm
anything.
not a big Twitter guy. I think I started a Twitter just to follow like one person so I could message him because that was the only way. That's his preferred form of contact. And then I deleted the app. I literally don't have Twitter anymore.
I don't have Twitter either.
So check us
Too
out on
old-
all of our
too old
socials.
for
Check out all of
Twitter.
our content on YouTube. We're big. We're gonna be focusing mainly on YouTube, podcast, and Instagram moving forward. So we'll have a lot of new content on those forums. Check us out. We'll see you guys soon.